It is time once again to look at an old laptop, a very old laptop. This is a Toshiba T1200. This is not the T1200 XE. An important distinction to make, because that actually matters in the case of what might be wrong with this machine. Now the difference is, I don't 100% know. I believe that this T1200 has a slightly different display, which, as you can see, is in pretty good condition. If I shine a light at it, doesn't look like there's any vinegar syndrome. I mean, it kind of looks like maybe there is right there, but I believe that that is just mark from someone trying to clean the screen. Hopefully there's no serious screen cancer, because these screens are well known for that problem. This is a problem. So that doesn't really close all that well. The bigger problem is that this does not power on, and I must admit I'm a little concerned about this. You've probably already seen why. We'll take a quick inspection here. It looks like it's in really good condition plastics-wise. There's the contrast control. Reset button. Might be missing the reset switch, I don't know. Like the plastic button that's supposed to go over top of that switch is what I mean. There's the battery release, which will be here, maybe. Get that out. You can see there's a little bit of corrosion on that, but it's not terrible. Someone has already hollowed out this battery, but what really concerns me is that this has a 12-volt DC input on it, and it's probably bad, because it's bad on all of these, because they've got leaky, pissing capacitors all over the place inside. But what concerns me is that it's a 12-volt input, but this battery is only 7.2 volts, and it looks like someone might have tried to dump voltage into these battery terminals. I'm hoping they didn't try to dump 12 volts into that, because they might have fried something if they did. This is an expansion, access to the expansion bus. There isn't anything in there on this one. There's a printer port, an external floppy port, which is actually set to disabled. That's what this switch on the side is for. This little, see there, that AB disk switch. Keypad connector right there for a proprietary keypad. Composite video output. That is RGB video output. I believe this is CGA compatible, although the screen is monochrome, but I believe that it does output color. And there is a serial port. These do have a hard drive, or it could have a hard drive. This one probably does have it. In fact, if we take a look in there, it looks like there is something there. On a floppy drive. This looks like it might be a standard floppy drive, so that's good, because a lot of these Toshiba machines used a proprietary floppy drive that had a belt in it that failed. But first things first, I gotta take this thing apart. I gotta inspect the state of the power supply. Taking a look at the bottom here. Yes, it's upside down. Sorry, not much I can do about that. I'm gonna be careful with that, because I don't want it to go flying. And I don't have a magnetic screwdriver on hand right now. Get that out. One thing to watch with these older laptops is that manufacturers love to put in like 4 or 5 different types of screws on the bottom. In this case, there's only 2. There's those 3, these 3, and then this one. They're all the same. These 2 are a different type. They're slightly different. I don't know what they go to. I took them out anyway. They probably go to the drives. I don't think I need to pull them, but I pulled them anyway. So I should be able to flip this around and take it apart now and take a look at that. Again, you got to be very careful with some of the ribbons and things. There is a trick to these, which I will get into once I get this off. But interestingly, I want to point out that all the feet are intact, and we don't have any moldy rubber disease going on with this. It's kind of interesting. Also interesting is this. Date assembled. 1991, which I guess is date of purchase rather than assembly. Spoke a little bit too soon. There's 2 screws in the battery compartment that are another different size. Those have to be pulled in order for this to work, in order to pull this out. So I pulled it out like this. You lift it up from the side carefully, and then you can unplug the video connector, which I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but it's this ribbon right here that needs to be unplugged. Alright, with the screen assembly off, we can take a look inside, and first of all, we have a bomb here that we need to defuse. Not really entirely sure why they routed the cable the way that they did, but that's how they did it. So, pull that out. That almost certainly doesn't work anymore. Now, maybe it's not original, I don't know. But it probably is. And it doesn't really matter for the sake of our discussion anyway. There's a capacitor there. But it doesn't look like it's leaked. No, it looks like everything there is good. And I was wondering where, there was an extra connector on the video, I was wondering where it went. It looks like it went to PJ19 right there. So that might be a pain to plug back in. There's a suspend switch right there. I don't know what this board is, it's very proprietary. You can see there's a bunch of gate arrays on it. I don't think it's a RAM board, I think the RAM expansion's right here. In fact, I think the RAM totally is right here. A couple more gate arrays, Mitsubishi chip, of course your keyboard. That is probably where your coprocessor goes. There is a potentially pissy capacitor right there, although I think it's probably fine. I don't see any evidence that it has leaked. There should be a connection here for what I don't know, unless that's for the second floppy drive, which it could be. There's another bomb back here, but this one actually plugs into the power supply. This one is definitely original. And probably also no good. There's a chance that it needs this battery to power on. And that could be the only reason why this doesn't work, is because that battery doesn't hold the charge anymore. I'm hoping I don't have to take too much of this plastic shell apart. But taking a look, I see corrosion on the transistor right there. I also see, yep, I see problems. Look at all that corrosion there, all of those. There's probably corrosion there, that's caused by this brown poop stained capacitor pissing all over the board. Yeah. Is that the only, are those the only ones? Those are probably the only ones. So I could probably save this power supply. There's probably nothing really stopping me from doing that. But I have a better idea. Okay, I went ahead and I pulled the board out. And taking a look at this, it looks like this isn't too bad, or wouldn't be too bad to fix. Looks like it's just concentrated in this area. Of course, you gotta worry about any of this bird seed on the back. Whether or not there's problems there, I have no idea. It doesn't look like it, although maybe up and around there it looks like there might be some capacitor jizz. Oh yeah, there it definitely is. There's certainly some right there. That's what all that brown crap is. So yeah, this could be washed probably very easily, and the junky caps removed. These are Nichicon PF series. Yeah, they're known defective. They jizz all over everything, as you can see. These other ones are Rubicons. They're probably fine. But, I mean, as a matter of course, I'd change it. But I'm going to go ahead and change the entire power supply, because there is an open source project out there, and I forgot to go grab it. What we have here is an open source project, T1200 replacement power supply. And what this will do is this will allow us to replace this without having to deal with any of this capacitor nonsense. Again, this one's not too bad. You could probably wash this, clean that up, as long as none of these chips are damaged, because, well, I'm not going to be able to read the printing on any of those, but I figured it was much easier to just get this and put this in. Now, this is a drop-in replacement for the T1200, not the T1200XE. The T1200XE needs some of the circuitry to actually work. It's a little bit smarter of a power supply. And this is just a power supply. This won't do battery, this won't do any of that other stuff. So, at least insofar as I can tell, this won't do any of that other stuff. So what I'll need to figure out is how exactly this hooks up into the system. And what exactly this hooks into. It looks to me like the only connections... There was a connection here. This is going to the main system battery. That's useless now. It's not going to work. So, I mean, we can just get rid of that kind. It's not going to do anything. There's not even a connector on this board for it. But that's fine because, you know, you can restuff these with batteries, but they're not going to last very long. It's not really worth it. And this connector is fine. It's still here. The problem, and I was wondering why they gave me these cables. Check this out. These are actually soldered straight to the board. That one might even have some capacitor leak damage on it anyway. I probably shouldn't put that on the keyboard. Probably just got capacitor jizz all over that keyboard, but anyway, I should not have to do much. Oh, that is for your modem, so that's for your expansion. So that's labeled. Now that I have this off of here, I can actually read it. It's for a modem that this doesn't have, so. I don't know if this is going to work. Hope this is switched off. I have no idea. I guess I'll find out. It doesn't have the switch for the hard drive power. It does have this extra connection here. I don't know what that's for. But there's no connection on this board for it. So I'm going to assume that it's probably fine. And that I just need to put this into place where the old thing was, plug all the connectors in, and I should be home free. Okay, so I've got this hooked up, and I'm curious what's going to happen here with this. I do have to get the screws in place completely here, and I'm hoping that this isn't going to be in the way of anything and it's not going to interfere with my plugging in the video connector. We have one more screw to put in. Okay, I've got my power supply in place. Now, I don't have the original power supply, so I actually ordered this with a modern connector on it, which is different from the one that's on the original power supply. You can order it either or. I don't remember what the exact measurements are, just that there is a difference. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in. I don't really have a good way of doing this, and I don't know that this is going to work without the screen connected, but hopefully it will. Oh, that's dirty. I have to clean that off. Alright. I'm going to move this, just because I don't want it to get damaged. That's going to fall. I wish it would just sit. So, let's see what happens. I got it plugged in. There's no smoke or fireworks or anything like that so far. Well, we have a light. I don't know if there's anything I need to push in order to power this on. I don't think so. It's asking me to change the battery pack on the camera. I don't really want to do that right now. It is alive. So go ahead and we'll power that down. And I guess, since there's really nothing wrong, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the monitor, and we'll see if it's working. I don't believe there's a hard drive, though. I think that's just empty. Okay, I've got that connected. Unfortunately, there's this wire. I wasn't paying any attention when I pulled this off, so I have no idea where that goes or how it goes. Let's see if it works anyway. Well, not for nothing. It is running, but I think that's my backlight connection. So, but it is working. I'll turn that off. I'll see if I can maybe figure out where that cable goes. Alright, good news. For some reason, even though it doesn't actually match the motherboard layout schematic, or what's in the maintenance manual, this connector's plugged in here, and now we have a backlight. And the even better news is it looks like we don't have any dead pixels. And we are running. I can't access the contrast control. Well, the hard drive works. I think. Yeah, it sure does. Scan disk. I wonder why it would be running scan disk. I see word perfect. That is a bright LED. Wow. I'm amazed that hard drive works. Canada Rescue. Whoa. No, I don't want to break the keyboard. I haven't even used the machine yet. Oh, it's not totally busted. So there are some things on there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this back together. I don't know if this has a hard drive parking utility on it. It does. So what I'm going to do, I'll unplug that. I'll put this all the way back together. Hopefully it will go all the way back together with the way that it's kind of jerry-rigged in place. But yeah, that's all I needed was a replacement power supply. And again, if I really wanted to, there's nothing stopping me from repairing the original one. Like, again, it's probably cleanable, because it's not too bad, but it's not great either. Okay. I don't have the screws in it yet, but we should at least be able to access the contrast control. I can see what's on the screen here. Yeah, that's much better. Look at that. There's like no screen cancer on this screen at all. It's amazing. That almost never happens. Focus. There we go. Here's the caps lock key. It seems like there's no indicator for the caps lock. It's kind of interesting. Nor for the scroll lock, just the num lock. There's also only 10 function keys. Yeah, this is running direct access. I wonder what version of DOS this is. So this is Norton Commander. I'm not really sure 100% what I'm doing here. So let's just do something and see what happens, and hopefully it doesn't do anything too personal. It just beeped at me and kicked me out. Alright, camera battery died. Just a little bit of information. Looks like most of it's in use. This is an 8088 system. Yeah, it looks like. And it is running CGA. So my question now is, what version of DOS is this running? 6.22, the latest version. $1994. So let's see. Doesn't look like we've got any bad sectors. Of course, I'm reading this in French. Total space, hidden files, something, I don't know what that is. That's used space. So yeah, most of this disk is used. It looks like. Yeah, most of this disk is in fact used. Tried measuring it, I got like nothing. So, and pure nothing. So it's either because I can't get a good connection on this little connector on the end, or because it's junk. I'm willing to assume it's because it's junk. This, funny enough, would probably be, I don't know, it's the same connector. But this battery here is what they call the RAM battery. And what this would do is this would allow you, if your system battery ran down, this would provide power to the RAM to allow you to change that battery and not lose any of your stuff. Now the problem with some of these older machines is that they require this battery to be in place in order to work, and I don't know if this is one of them. Like if I were to repair this power supply, if I'd have to fashion a replacement battery. I don't know, but with this power supply, I don't need that. So doing some looking, not really much to see. So, bunch of personal files. Of course, WordPerfect is on here. Oh, there's some stuff in there. But not really much to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park the hard drives, and then we will shut this down. See, there's the LCD brightness. It's pretty bright. There is some ripple in that at certain brightness levels, but it's not too bad. Of course, the contrast control. This is where it was. Of course, now it yells at you because you've parked the hard drive heads. shut it down, and that'll be that. So, thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below.